Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. What's up, Twitch? If anyone's online, give me a shout in the chat. What up, Frequency? What up, Tweet? So, I think today I'm gonna make a more of a hip hop boom bap kind of sample based beat. Because the last two I went super hard into sound design, and I want to focus a little bit more on like sampling and composition and melody and stuff like that today. Yeah, what's up, Nick P? How you doing? So I've got a couple samples that I already have picked out that I like, and so I just wanted to get a little head start, and we'll work with that. I recently, last year, had the privilege of visiting the MESS, which is in Melbourne, Australia, the Melbourne Electronic Sound Studio, which is basically a facility that's like managed by a tech, and the tech will give you access to like dozens of these vintage and rare synthesizers, modular, fixed architecture, all kinds of synths, including an original Fairlight CMI and an original Buchla system and an original Surge modular. These are like incredibly rare systems. So I got to sit down and play with. I spent the majority of the time playing with this Buchla that they put together, which is actually, if you don't know about Buchla, Don Buchla sort of pioneered the modular synth in the 1960s and 70s. Was making Buchla systems, and this predates the Eurorack modular format by 30 plus years, and they're super fun to play with. So I recorded a bunch of stuff when I was down there. So let's just jump into my audio editor, Adobe Audition, and just take a listen to part that I thought was pretty cool. So here we are. Let's try this out for you guys a little bit. So kind of a drone, sort of in the style of like an Indian traditional raga kind of drone. Sounds a little bit like a droning sitar kind of sound. And it sort of builds up in intensity. So I thought that would be an interesting kind of intro for a song, maybe a Beasts of Babylon type song. And yeah, so I'm gonna start with that, I think. I've also got a just a beat sample that I want to load up. That is wouldn't be able to put this out, but it's can, right? That first couple bars, yeah, wouldn't be able to put it out, but it's fun to make beats out of samples anyway, just for like just for catch a vibe, you know. And then later on, if you really want to, you can like replay it or alter it or you know, re-record it with your own instruments if you're really feeling the beat. Um, but yeah, Can is amazing. Um, Holger Shuke, R.I.P. But yeah, if you dig into the Can discography, there's so many sick, funky breaks that you can sample. It's insane. Um, all right, so those two samples are not in the same key, which is fine. We'll just fix it in Ableton, and I'll probably like play in some kind of like bass line, maybe operator, maybe move it to the Moog Slim Fatty. We'll see. Let's figure it out. So I'm gonna jump into Ableton, and okay, I already put Soul Desert in here. What do we got? We got the first 4 bars here. Put it up to 85 BPM. It started at around 82 or 79. I'm just bumping it up a little bit. I play a lot of beats at 85 in the DJ sets, so I figured like make it 85, keep it easy on myself. So yeah, I think like what I'll do is I want to put a couple more percussive elements in this beat. So let me find some like metal stuff. Let's see. Not that. That could work. A little sword kind of thing. And I'll pitch it down. So let's see. I'm going to put that on the snares maybe. Let's boost it up a little bit. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I've been having a lot of fun with these. Probably keep doing it. Keep exploring some techniques and keep doing things live. It's pretty fun. All right, let's see what these swords sound like here. So I'm gonna do that as a like boom clack, where the second hit of the sword hits on the snare. Okay. Yeah, something like that. I'll just record it to get the timing right. Yeah, with a little jangly extra one at the end. I think I like the timing on this second one the most, so I'm going to copy that and put it right there. Yeah, so let's get this one. All right, I think one more snare kind of sound. I'm going to load up some of these Premiere snares. These are my go-to boom bap kind of snares. Let's see. I kind of like it like right before the last or the second snare. Kind of like a rolled snare or like a ghost snare is what you might call it. Yeah, these they're labeled as Premiere. I don't know if they're actually from Premiere tracks or what, but they're fire. Go through a couple of these. Yeah, this will all be saved. I'm gonna put VODs up for sure. All right, so I'm thinking I want to load in that sample and see how it sounds. So let's just see what we got here. I'm going to take this whole section, copy it, new file, paste it. And just save this. See what we got. All right, so I'm going to lay this down into, actually, let me make a couple more little rhythmic things before I pull it into a range view. So I got like an and a woo, some vocal hits. You know that's Fat Joe. Let me make that twice as long. I don't need a little extra note. Do one more. Let's do a woo. What we got here? There we go. A little quiet. Let's boost it up. It's a little click. That's better. Quiet still. Put it on 0, maybe even 2. Cool. So we got a little beat going, and I'm gonna drag in that that sample of the Buchla. Just listen to it real quick. So if I transpose it up 3, it will be in tune. Cool, I'm going to lay this down in the arrange view. And I think I'm going to do it with audio instead of MIDI for that. So let me just grab this audio, put that here, and just pressing tab to switch over, and just going to roll this out. Let's see. Cool. Just going to rename this Buchla. Copy that over. See what we can do. Unwarped. Transpose at 3. Cool. I'm going to send both of these to a little bit of delay, like so. Put it on a little offbeat kind of thing. Put a little echo in the sword sample. Let's try it. Dotted eighth note. Yeah, that could work. Just a tiny bit. Cool. And maybe a little bit of a hollow room might be good. Put that after the echo. It's too much. I want a small room. Yeah. Cool. Just gonna zero that out. That little offbeat snare for the first part here. Cool. I want to try to make a bass line that'll go with this. Let's see. Pull up operator. Where are we at here? I want to make this monophonic, one voice, and give it a little bit of glide. Some kind of dark little melody. I'm gonna do it in a higher register so y'all can hear it if you're on, you know, your phone or whatever. Some type of little Phrygian kind of melody thing. I think E. I think that's Phrygian. I don't know. My music theory is pretty rusty. What up, Greg? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. All right, let's make a little something here. Make a little something. Let's see. I'm gonna do a saw digital. I'll just filter it way down. And then I'll pitch it down in a bit, but and make it like sound good, but I just want to get the melody right. Okay. Kind of messed up a little bit at the end there, but I think it kind of sounds good actually. This little roll right here. Let's pitch that right down. Cool. I think what I would need to do next is like back off on this sample a little bit, or maybe I think if I mute this sample, let's see what it sounds like. Bass has kind of a G-funk vibe to it. I think what I would do is like, yeah, just a fat bass all the way for the first bar. What up, Ramon? What up, Zwanky? Yeah, Ghostface. Yeah, that'd be sick. I might hit up Ghostface. Let's see. Gotta get Greg in the studio over here sometime. Greg, you gotta come over and we'll make a beat on the stream sometime. It'll be fun. We can wear disguises, wear masks and shit. That'll be tight. Wait, I'm not supposed to swear on the stream. Sorry. All right. Operator bass. Let's see what we can do with this operator bass. Fatten it up. Amp. I'm gonna duplicate it and do a little bit of. Here, let me just raise it up an octave. No, that's not the one. Maybe delay. My standard delay preset is just a it's just a 1 millisecond on the left, 15 milliseconds on the right with no feedback, which is like a Haas effect, I believe is what you'd call that. HAAS effect, which basically means that one channel is slightly delayed from the other, and it creates basically it creates an auditory illusion that one thing is, if you do it to a percussion sound, it sounds like the thing that happens first is closer, or is positioned in stereo on that side of your head. Yeah, the Haas effect, yeah. HAAS. Yeah, you do get phasing issues when summed to mono, so definitely, if you're doing this kind of stuff, check your mix in mono. You know, just go to the master and do a utility, and there's actually a mono preset. Just drag the mono preset in there and listen to your beat, and like check your beat and see if it still sounds good. Hopefully it does. And if not, you can just adjust the time on the delay. Sometimes that fixes it. Or you might have to reevaluate and say, you know, Haas effect isn't right for this song. Anyway, what I'm going to do is just do the Haas effect on the highs. So let's see what we got here. This is in the 0 octave, and this is in the 1 octave. I'm going to move it back down and just solo this for a sec so I can hear what's going on. So let's listen. Sounds pretty good. So what I would do is like split this. So let's split it at like 250, and you can actually do this all in like one rack. It can sound pretty good. So I'll just take these two. This is the EQ8. That's a high pass at 250 and the delay, and just group them. And then I'll call this. I'm not calling it anything. There we go. Call it Haas split. So if I want to use it later, I got it. Let's open up the chain. I'm going to add a new chain. That's just copy this, option drag it to the new chain, twiddle this high pass into a low pass, and we've got the lows are in mono and the highs are in Haas effect. So let's see if it works. Let's see if it sounds good. I'll just rename this high and this low. You can also put further processing on the highs and not worry about it messing up your lows or making things muddy. Yeah, let's just listen to that. All right, that sounds pretty good to me. I think I would want to add like a sub underneath it also. So I'm just going to duplicate this and rename it sub, and let's solo that, and it's going to be the same operator but with a sine instead of a sawtooth for the wave. So it's also hitting the amp, and at this point I would just delete the amp on both tracks and group them and move the amp up there. So I didn't actually want to delete it. That's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to move it. Move my amp back. There we go. Group. Grab this amp, put it on the group. So that way the sine and the sawtooth are like distorting into the amp together rather than separately, which should sound better. We'll see. Still soloed. Just solo the group. Have I ever used FM8? Yeah, I like FM8 a lot. I might use it later for some chords. Let's see, like let me unmute this. So this operator, I'm going to put this back on 6 voices here and turn off the glad. So let's load up an FM8 since you mentioned it. And I've got one preset in here that I really like. What is it called? Plasma. Yeah, I've used this on a bunch of beats. It's already sort of a stacked chord. That'd be a good sort of breakdown, I think. Just some filtering. We'll save that for later. Make this different color just so I know what's going on here. Alright, rename this. Actually, we don't need a region for that. Let's see. Okay, so this group is the bass. So let's listen back to the bass and see what's going on here. Okay, so this is the saw. So I think what I want to do is add some thickness to the saw by stacking another saw on top of it and just detuning it a little bit. So let's do like a fine detune of like 3, and then I'll just turn that up and down and just see how it sounds. Okay, it's getting somewhere. I'm gonna add a little bit of, let's add a touch of like plate reverb onto this. So let me grab a lexicon plate, and just put it on after this Haas delay. And I'm gonna shorten that right up to really short, no pre-delay. And just bring it in slowly to see how it sounds. Let's see. That's cool. It's kind of rushing up at the end there when the tail falls off, which is like a function of the amp. The amp is like bringing that noise floor right up, which sounds interesting. It's maybe a little too much, so I think I'm gonna go into the envelope here on this operator and just lengthen the release and see what happens here. So. amp, see how I can. Kind of like this blues mode. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. So let's. I think what I'm gonna do is grab a very light kind of kick drum, like a punchy kind of maybe a 606 kick. Let me see. 606. Maybe that. Let me try that real quick, just as a starter kick here. And I'm gonna just copy this bass line, quantize everything. So it's just at the beginning of those bass notes, it's just hitting the 606. Everything's soloed here. Let me see what's going on. Turn some of these. This needs to be a bunch louder. Let me just put this on 0, and I'm gonna turn this bass way down and sidechain it to the kick. Let's see. Sidechain compressor, threshold, ratio up, release down. Hopefully this should work just off the kick. If not, I'll do it off of a ghost. What are we doing? Sidechain. Sidechain to the, what is it on? MPC 60. There we go. This is way too low. That's what's going on. Can't hear the kick at all. Needs to be on C3. Okay, that's a little too aggressive on the side chaining. Pretty aggressive. Let me just. It helps to watch. I like to watch it in the this mode. I don't know what this mode is called, but it shows you what the sidechain is doing exactly. If I turn on the EQ and put it on high pass, I can just catch the transient and use the transient as the sidechain rather than the whole body of the kick, which makes the sidechain a little bit more controllable. It'll just cut down really quickly and then come back up, which is what I want. Cool. So I need a snare on this. I'm gonna grab it. Let's do some more Premiere snares. Let's see what we can get going. What up, Voxic? Let's see what we got here. That could work. Move it just a tiny bit early and turn that right up. And I'm going to grab some of that Flex plate and just throw it on there too. Just when you're listening at headphones, you get a tiny bit of plate. Makes those drums, especially the boom bap kind of drums, sound like a little more live, a little more present. I'll check it out. Cool, so that's the start of a beat right there. I think what I would do is like grab some of these little Buchla things and like toss them in. Let's see what we can get going. Just listen to like a random section of this Buchla stuff. If you want to add a lot of tension, just pitch part of it up at the end of the bar, one semitone, and you got tons of tension. So, and let me sidechain this to the kick too. So let me grab my sidechain compression that I was using on the bass, copy that, paste it here. Oops, don't need two, just one. Okay, that's definitely tense, but it's not quite compatible with the riff that I got going. Let's see, what VST is that bass from? It's from a operator, and it's going through an amp. Yeah, so there's a saw operator and a sub sine wave operator. Just realized I left the Haas effect on the sub, which I don't actually want, so let me turn that off. I'm going to auto filter this. Oops, let's see. Turn on my automation and do a little sort of open up, close kind of auto filtering vibe here. Get this to snap. There we go. And I'm going to send this to my ascend, which is a eventide space, and see what that's doing for it. Let's just listen to that part real quick. Let's see if I'm going up to an A from the E. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So put that on 8. So I'm just transposing this part of the Buchla to kind of match the tonality of the little fill that I'm playing at the end there. Maybe down an octave. The effect on the space end is the eventide space. It's a stomp box pedal. Really, really good reverb. It's here. Let me listen to this part, and I'll just solo it so y'all can hear it. And it's currently on like a plate setting, but it's also got a bunch of different, reverb models in it. I like the plate one a lot. There's also like a black hole one that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a hardware effect. Yeah. I just use that instead of the standard like Ableton reverb. Okay, so that Buchla thing is cool, but I'm not like in love with it. It's pretty cool. I'm going to duplicate this section of the beat and try something else in the second half here and see if I like it better. So I think what I'm going to do is, I've got this auto filter going. I'm going to open it up like this. And I'm going to add another one. Let's just duplicate this, turn it into a high pass, and I'm going to automate the filter going down so it starts as like a bandpass, and sort of the width of the bandpass slowly opens up. Like, let's see how it sounds. Yeah, so just adding a bunch of tension. I'm going to duplicate this and make a new version of this track where this tension can be like really ramped up. I'm just cleaning things up a little bit here. Cool. Okay, so this, I'm gonna loop this and solo this and just let's duplicate it again. Solo this. I'm going to pitch this one up one more semitone and sort of line it up with the end here. Fade it in and just make it real quiet, so maybe -12, and just these together will sort of it'll get this like slow tension as the chord gets more and more tense. It's not really a chord at first, it's just one note. Press playing that E, and then as the F comes in, it'll just get tenser and tenser and tenser right up until the end of the bar. Let's see how it sounds. Yeah, I like that. Even a bit louder could be good. Cool, so that chord's kind of morphing. Dig that. I'm going to duplicate it again and go turn warp mode on. Put on texture. Maybe put on complex pro, see how it sounds, and go up another octave just to add to that tension a little bit. Let's see how it sounds. Cool. Kind of digging that. I want it to be, I want this auto filter to open up a little more and be a little bit noisier. So let me just add a bit of distortion with, let's do trash. I haven't done trash yet. So I'll load up trash too. And let's just go through a couple presets with this. And I want it to be really gnarly, but kind of quiet. Where's the presets in here? There we go. Yeah, that'll work. And I want don't want to be going through all this reverb because I want to cut off at the end. Okay, so let's listen to these together, and I want to EQ this so it's more just the highs. I'm just gonna boost the highs about 6 dB, and then back it off. Real quiet. Listen to this chord with just these three. So I'll call this like, I'm gonna group these and call them like tension riser, and cool. So let's listen to this. Very tense. Cool. I'm digging that. Let's listen back to this part too. That's cool, but we don't want this auto filter anymore. It's a significant amount of low end energy in that, so I'm just going to roll it off because it's going to be going. I'm going to use shelf here, just roll it off around 100, so it's not messing with the bass too much, and I will put the same shelf on the tension riser thing. Let's listen to everything together. Cool, I'm with it. I think like what I would do now at this point is like I would consider moving this to an analog synth and like play around with that a little bit. Or I think what I might do is resample some stuff. Could resample the bass. Or maybe I'll just render this whole loop and then chop some stuff up. Yeah. What up? What up, Ori? Yeah. What up, Shark? What up, Rome? Nice. Auckland in the house. I'm gonna be in New Zealand next year. All right, let me just render this loop real quick, and actually I'll render this whole beat so far. I'm gonna save this. This will be, what should we call this? I need names. Chat room. Chat room. What should we call this song right here? What's the Cam song called? Soul Desert. Normally I would just call it that, but gotta think of something good. Wook Scream. Shepherd's Pie. Dissonant Trash. That's pretty accurate. Scrumph. Shepherd. I like this Shepherd. Shepherd name is cool. Some kind of shepherd. Fortnite type beat. Shepherd's Pie. Shepherd. I just like the word shepherd. I think that's cool. We'll start with shepherd and we'll come up with a better name later. Shepherd.als. Here we go. I'm going to render all this stuff to recordings. Actually, I'm going to make a new folder called bounces here. Shepherd. It's got to render in real time because of the eventide space, which is fine. We can listen back. Just realized that Buchla is totally inaudible in this part because of the filter, so let's fix that. And also turn this off and then automate turning it back on. Alright. Just listen. Yeah, cool. That's working. Cool. Shepherd. Here we go. I'm listening to the render while rendering because it's going through the eventide space, which has to happen in real time. Yeah, it's rendering in real time because there's an external audio effect right here. This space is just an external audio effect. I just renamed it space so it'll be easy to find, you know, in the search. But I just have it on my default reverb, so by default everything's going, or anything on the A send is going through the space reverb. Yeah, the drop is like very sudden. It needs to have a little bit more finessed transition there. It just goes from like, this is a boom bap beat to like, this is an EEPROM beat, like really quick. So I gotta figure out some way to finesse that a little bit and add some more structure, I think. At this point, so we've got Shepherd. I'm gonna save this and I'm just gonna make a new MIDI channel and load Shepherd into it, which is, let me find this over here. Yeah, streaming. String bounces, Shepherd. I'm gonna grab a granulator and just start completely mangling this beat. This is sort of my go-to method for resampling, so let's see what we can get. Yeah, so, okay, granulator. Turn that right up to 0. Throw a limiter on there, because granulator can get out of control every now and then. And let's see what we got going. MIDI key. I'm just going to smash this limiter with a little bit of reverb. Reverb before the limiter, and I'm going to smash the bass too because it sounds cool. You actually get this kind of, if you smash the bass into a limiter, you get this psychoacoustic effect where when your ears are listening to a really, really loud sound, like say you're listening to like a jet engine and you're like within, 100 meters, it's going to sound like the lows are knocking down all the hairs in your ear, in your inner ear. And so you get this effect where anytime you hear something where the lows are like cutting out everything else, which is like, the sidechain effect or just running a bass boost into a limiter, it gives the psychoacoustic effect that you're hearing something really loud. It sounds louder than it actually is. Just a good little trick. I haven't played with Grain Scanner yet. Yeah, no, I haven't tried it yet. I want to try it. Yeah, I might pick that up at some point and dive in. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, your eardrums compress, essentially. That's pretty accurate. So let's see what this sounds like. I don't want this to be all the way wet, and I don't want it to be so long, and maybe a little smaller. We'll see. I'm gonna hit record on a new audio channel. I'm gonna change this to resampling and just record solo this and go turn the loop off and just go. Yeah, if you load a whole beat into Granulator, you're just like it's basically cheating. You're granulating between all the different sounds, which is where granulator really gets interesting. You just load like a pad or whatever, like you're just gonna make more pads. But if you load a whole song, you get tons of textures really quickly. Yeah, it sounds like shades, right? Because we use this a lot. Yeah. Uh, Granulator has a mind of its own, basically. You can make some crazy stuff real quick. Um, yeah. Let me try a couple more subtle, slightly more subtle granulator things here. I don't have the parameters mapped to anything. I'm just doing it all with the mouse. If you do map the parameters to stuff, you can definitely go crazy with it. Especially if you have a few knobs, it can get really fun. I'm gonna go down 2 octaves and put an OTT on it. That got interesting. That got interesting at the end. Yeah. So there's a ton of stuff in there. I think that was 5 minutes of just granular playing around. Got some interesting stuff. It takes some time to like go back and find the really interesting, your favorite bits of a good sound design session. Which I would probably do something like that off stream. But some basic things you can do are like, let's listen back to just part of it. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. You can pitch it up and down. Probably better at the native speed here. But that's like a nice raw tone right here. That just, if it just loop that, like turn that into, your bass sample or whatever. Yeah, there's tons of stuff in there. There's also some interesting parts where it's going down to 0. Maybe I'll reverse one of these and turn it into a build-up at some point. That could be a good like transition into the drop kind of thing. So it's reversing the entire sample right now. Yeah, you could put it back into Granulator. You can put it into further processing. Let's listen to this as like a build-up. Just see, just one part where I just let the tail fade all the way out. Yeah, so that could definitely work as a build-up. How many layers of granulation can we go? How deep can we go? Yeah, sometimes I re-granulate things. You could definitely do that. Let's see if this one works as a build-up. Let me just reverse it. Just listen to it. I like this better already. That could work as a build-up. With further processing, I think it could work better. This could work. Let's see. That one's pretty good. Well, yeah, I might use that later. Change the color so I know it's good. I really like this part with the clanging, like percussive sounds. I forget if that started. Oh yeah, swords. Some sword sounds. Maybe reversed. Yeah, I like that a lot. Like that blue also. There's usable stuff in there for sure. That is cool. Could work as some kind of breakdown or fill or something. Yeah, I think I'm going to pause this beat for now, say this is a version 2, and come back to it at a later date. Yeah, digging it. Do you guys have any questions about anything that I did? I can just jump in and answer some questions. Just let me know in the chat what you guys are thinking. Getting heavy. Yes, it is getting heavier. Started out funky and it's getting heavy. Typical EEPROM workflow. Center of the Sun vibes. Yeah, def. Thank you, Backwoods Brandon. I'll be saving the VODs for sure. I'm also going to be putting them on YouTube at some point. Did I map those parameters on the granulator? No, I'm doing it all with the mouse. But yeah, you should map them on the granulator. If you have a MIDI controller with a few knobs, definitely map them to spray, scan time, grain size, spread, file position. You can go crazy. Granular is amazing. I love it. Use it on every song. Acid sound design. I can do some acid sound design for sure. We'll do that in a subsequent stream, I think. It's a big topic. Do I use grain delay? Yeah, I use grain delay a lot. Grain delay is great for, like me and Greg use it on, I think, all of our songs. When you want to do like a clap or something that you can do really interesting stuff with grain delay. One thing I like to do is like, say I've got a vocal, like a shout or something, to fade the grain delay from wet to dry. so the shout kind of starts all crunchy and then sort of comes into focus. That can be very effective. Or going the other way with a snare. You start with a dry snare and you give it just a touch of quiet, and then it opens up the grain delay, and you have this like crunchy after snare, kind of like a reverb, but it's doing that crazy bouncy grain delay thing. Yeah, I like grain delay. Grain delay on snares. What else? Would I go over Metasynth? Yeah, I haven't been using Metasynth for a couple of years. I've pretty much transitioned to doing stuff in live. Get Alex on the stream. Yeah, it would be tight. I don't know if it's his bag, but I would see if he wants to jump on the stream and do a shade stream. That would be pretty fun. Yeah. What else? Resample your whole life. I've always wanted a live audio app that would just like run the mic on your phone and run it to the headphones, and you could add different VSTs to like VST your whole life. Everything that you hear would be going through like a flanger or something. I just feel like that would be really fun. make life more interesting. Yeah, your breathing going through a flanger. That would be so lit. Oh my god. Okay. Do I use Serum often? I just started experimenting with Serum a little bit. I made a beat. I like followed one of those like how to make rhythm bass tutorials. I think it was like Virtual Riot. It's actually a great tutorial. He's a really good teacher. But I just like ended up like, everything in the tutorials on these quarter notes, and I just took everything off quarter notes and made it all wonky and like EEPROM style, and changed the BPM of the rhythm song from like 150 to like 170 or whatever. Just made it totally different. My take on rhythm. I always try to like make a rhythm song, and then it ends up being like 120 beats per minute or something. I can never like stick to the template of rhythm. It's like it's too restrictive for me. I like to either like get up into 170 and have that boom bappy kind of wonky halftimey sound, or like slow it down to 120. Yeah, here, let me play you guys something. Hang on one sec. I will play this for you. 150. That's not even it. Fuck. Where is it? This one. Nasty Wobble. Sneak preview. But trying to catch that rhythm, like spaciousness, the back and forth between like the bass is full on and there's silence, and then bass and then silence, but like moving that template to a totally different rhythmic structure that's not going, it's going, doing some kind of more wonky kind of beat. Yeah, some random breaks in there. I might put some random breaks in there for sure. Oh, you guys can't hear it. Wait, can you hear it? Could you even hear that? Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. No sound. Okay, hang on. I will actually play this sound for you. It's like playing it at warp. All right. All right. It's definitely serum, but it's not quite rhythm. Uh, you get the idea. I'll probably put that out at some point. I got to work on it a little bit. It needs some intro, needs some love. It needs a second drop. But yeah. Um, yeah. Anybody else got any questions? Can we see that project? Yeah, I could open up that project at some point. Um, so yeah, I think next stream I might do some kind of acid 303 thing. Maybe do like a hardware versus software thing because I've got this Zox box and I've got ABL3, which I love. It's a software 303 clone thing. Um, uh, yeah, cool. Well, yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll hang out in the chat for a little bit and answer some questions via text. Uh, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been my longest stream so far. Um, yeah, odd time signatures. I don't do that too often, but I could play with it for sure. Um, I've been streaming daily the last 3 days. Probably gonna take a break at some point, definitely for Christmas. But keep streaming a little bit. As like topics occur to me, or like as you guys suggest interesting topics. And I'll be moving these onto YouTube as soon as possible. Also, write rhythm in 14/8. That would be fun. It would be fun to write like a completely IDM rhythm song. Uh, what happened to No Clip? No Clip, that's like a dub plate. It's a dub plate. I don't know. I might release it. I've been toying with like some alternate formats of releasing over the next couple of years. Maybe doing like series of singles in the style of Mr. Carmack, where he puts out these singles one after the other. Or I may just make another album. We'll see. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm signing off. Big up. Peace.